Hello, my name is Stephane Garelli. I am the director of the IMD World Competitiveness Center. And we are discussing this morning a little bit about complexity. Very recently, as you know, in Wyoming, Jackson Hole, the central bankers have traditionally a conference. And Andrew Haldane, who is an executive director of the Bank of England, said on this occasion that actually we have too much complexity in the system. To take his words, he said, in the same way as you do not fight fire with fire, you do not fight complexity with complexity. And indeed, when we are looking at Basel III agreements, it's extraordinarily complex. We are now running 616 pages on the Basel III agreement, about 10 times more than we had for Basel I. If you are looking in the United States of America with the Dodd-Frank Act, it's 848 pages long. Who can survive this? Just the Volcker Rule, which is part of it and which is dealing with proprietary trading, is something like 383 questions. So obviously we are in a world where it becomes more and more difficult to master the complexity of things, and most probably the complexity of the rules which are applying to the environment, not only financially, is making it not so easy to understand and precisely to control. We have the same problem also with numbers coming from governments. Recently, again in July, I think the 28th of July, the United States of America have produced the revised statistics for the GDP, and we see that in 2008, which was a period when the recession just occurred, actually the statistics did not really show how deep the recession was, and did not show either how weak the recovery was during the year. And because the Federal Reserves did not have those right statistics at the right moment, they have probably been a bit late in reacting to the situation and in providing some quantitative easing. So these statistics have to be taken with some kind of, pessimism, because they do not reflect entirely the situation. The companies have exactly the same problem. Globalization has produced an enormous amount of complexity, and I think that it is becoming more and more difficult in companies to master everything which is happening around the organization, and it does not apply only to the banking community, but to all kind of organization today. The problem we have had with numbers recently is that they give you a kind of false sense of security, because we feel that we can apply very complex formula to the world. Because of that, we can control what's happening in the world. This is probably not true. I think we have to go back to a much more direct and approach to the way we monitor things happening in the world. I think it was Keynes which used to say you have two types of economists in the world. You have those who know how to count, and you have those who count. And I think that indeed those who are going to count in the future are those who are going to go back into much more thinking and a little bit less calculation. This is Stephane Garelli at the IMD World Competitiveness Center in Lausanne, Switzerland.